大家好. Welcome back to Bitesize Mandarin. And this is lesson 5 based on the study article for the week of October 9th. So let's jump right in with a recap from the last lesson. So as you might remember, 其中 means among them, of them, or in it. An example sentence, 研读圣经并沉思其中的内容. Study the Bible and meditate on its contents. Now we can expand on that by looking at paragraph 15 of this week's study article, which has this sentence. 这就是耶和华派耶稣来到地上的其中一个理由. This was one of the reasons why Jehovah sent Jesus to the earth. Now to emphasize what 其中 is doing here, we can take it out and see what happens to the sentence. 这就是耶和华派耶稣来到地上的理由. This was the reason why Jehovah sent Jesus to the earth. Now let's bring 其中 back in. This was one of the reasons why Jehovah sent Jesus to the earth. So the implication is that there are many reasons or more than one reason, and the sentence is highlighting one of them. 其中一个理由. So we use 其中 number measure word when we want to highlight one or any number out of several things. So another example can be found in paragraph 3. Daniel 有很多美好的特质. Daniel had many fine qualities. 本篇课文会谈谈其中两种特质. This article will discuss two of those qualities. So the noun is 特质, and the paragraph has already mentioned that Daniel has many fine qualities. 很多美好的特质. And in this article, two of those qualities will be discussed. 2, 两, and the measure word 种. 其中两种, and then the noun 特质. 其中两种特质. So let's break down and rebuild this sentence. Daniel 的特质, Daniel's qualities. Daniel 的美好特质, Daniel's fine qualities. Daniel 的其中两种美好特质, two of Daniel's fine qualities. And then we can expand on this sentence. 是 Daniel 的其中两种美好特质是 two of Daniel's fine qualities were 勇气和忠贞, courage and loyalty. And we could reverse that. 勇气和忠贞是 Daniel 的其中两种美好特质. And here's another example. 亲近上帝 draw close to God. 亲近上帝的方法 way to draw close to God. 亲近上帝的其中一个方法 one way to draw close to God. And expand. 是亲近上帝的其中一个方法是 one way to draw close to God is 经常研读圣经 regular Bible study or regularly studying the Bible. And this too we can reverse. 经常研读圣经是亲近上帝的其中一个方法. Let's take a look at another example. 我最喜欢的圣经人物 my favorite Bible character. 我最喜欢的其中三个圣经人物 three of my favorite Bible characters 是使徒保罗 of course, 先知但以理和亚比该 the Apostle Paul, the Prophet Daniel, and Abigail. And these two can be reversed. 使徒保罗、先知但以理和亚比该是我最喜欢的其中三个圣经人物. Now there's actually another way that we can arrange the parts of this sentence, and that is 我最喜欢的圣经人物其中三个是使徒保罗、先知但以理和亚比该. So if you notice, 我最喜欢的圣经人物 其中三个是. So in this sentence, I've already mentioned the noun 圣经人物, and then I don't need to repeat it again. So I don't need to say 其中三个人物 because I've already said it earlier on in the sentence. So here's another example of that. 我今天在传道上遇到了很多人. So here the noun is 人, people. 其中一个对圣经很感兴趣. One of them was really interested in the Bible. So really the phrase is 其中一个人对圣经很感兴趣. But because I've already mentioned 人 in the preceding part of the sentence, I don't need to repeat it again. So to recap, 其中 number measure word is what we use when we want to highlight one or any number out of several. 单你的其中两种美好特质, two of Daniel's fine qualities. So let's go back to the main article and we'll take another sentence from paragraph 3. 耶和华很爱但以理，不是因为他的外貌，而是因为他的为人. God loved Daniel not because of his physical appearance, but rather because of his moral character. So we'll focus on this structure, 不是而是. So it's another correlative, a pair of words that work together in a sentence to provide a function. In this case, it's not A, but rather B. So let's have a look at what 不是而是 is doing in the sentence from paragraph 3. So we can split this sentence into two parts to really emphasize the A and the B. 不是因为他的外貌, that's A, 而是因为他的为人, that's B. So actually, the entire phrase after 不是 is A, 因为他的外貌, so not A, 不是因为他的外貌. And the entire phrase after 而是 is B, 因为他的为人, but rather B, 而是因为他的为人. So, 耶和华很爱但以理，不是因为他的外貌，而是因为他的为人. God loved Daniel not because of his physical appearance, but rather because of his moral character. Not because of A, but rather because of B. 他不去派对，不是因为他不想，而是因为他没空. He's not going to the party, not because he doesn't want to, but rather because he's unavailable. So again, not because of A, but rather because of B. Here's another example. 这不是一个失败，而是一个学习的机会. This is not a failure, but rather a learning opportunity. So it's not A, but rather it's B. 他不是老师，而是律师. He is not a teacher, but rather a lawyer. So he is not A, but rather he is B. 最重要的不是我们的外貌，而是我们的内心. What's most important is not our outward appearance, but rather our inner person. So what's most important is not A, but rather B. Now we could make a comment out of this with an introductory sentence like 从这节经文我们可以清楚看出 from this scripture we can clearly see, or 从耶稣在这里的话我们学到 from Jesus' words here we learn, or 这个记载帮助 or 让我们明白 this account helps, makes us understand. Let's use the first one as an example. 从这节经文我们可以清楚看出 from this scripture we can clearly see, and then we can bring in this whole sentence here. 最重要的不是我们的外貌，而是我们的内心。And then finish off with something like 因此，我们应该努力培养基督徒的好品格。From this scripture, we can clearly see what's most important is not our outward appearance, but rather our inner person. Therefore, we should strive to cultivate a Christian personality. So, 不是而是 is a correlative serving the function of not A, but rather B. So we use it when we want to contrast. 他不是老师，而是律师. He's not a teacher, but rather he's a lawyer. So let's have a look at two final points from this article, both of them from paragraph 5. So the first sentence is 过了一段时间，丹尼里再次需要显出勇气。After some time, Daniel again needed to display courage. So this is the first phrase, 过了一段时间, after a period of time. Now later on in the same paragraph, there is this sentence, 丹尼里说，国王有一段时间不能坐在王位上。Daniel said the king would lose his throne for a period of time. So we have another time phrase, 有一段时间, meaning for a period of time. So, 过了一段时间, after a period of time, 有一段时间, for a period of time. Let's first take a look at 过了一段时间. So, 过 means pass by. So I could say 走过图书馆, which means pass by the library or walk past the library. And since we have a 了 here, 过了 means passed by. So the passing has already happened. So if I say 走过了图书馆, this means walked past the library. Now in this sentence, what is it that's passed by? It's time. So 过了 is referring to a period of time having passed by. So in other words, after a period of time. And then the rest of the sentence is almost a word for word translation. So I or I in this case means a, or as close as we can get to a, it means one. 段 means section. So it's the same 段 that we hear all the time. 请你读第二段, which in this case means please read the second paragraph. A paragraph, of course, being a section of text. A section of time is a period. And then time is 时间. So, 过了一段时间, after a period of time. In other words, after a period of time has passed by. So let's look at some examples. 过了一段时间, 他们的态度开始软化. In time, after some time had passed, their attitude started to soften. 过了一段时间，我开始厌烦了这份工作. After a while, after a period of time had passed by, I began to get bored with my job. 过了一段时间，你就会习惯英国的天气. You'll get used to the English weather after a while, after some time has passed. Whether or not that's true is debatable. So this is how we can use 过了一段时间, meaning after a period of time. Now how about 有一段时间, meaning for a period of time? So in this context, 有 can be translated to for. But we mostly know 有 to mean to have. So how do we get from that to the meaning of for? Well, 有 have is referring to the existence of something. In other words, there is something. For example, in the sentence, 这里有蛋糕, there is some cake here. So when we say for a period of time, what we mean is there is, there was, there will be a period of time. Or in other words, for a period of time. Now let's look at some examples. 有一段时间我没有自信. For a while, I lost my confidence. Or in other words, there was a period of time I lost my confidence. So this is how 有 comes into play here. 有一段时间，她的丈夫患了重病. Her husband was seriously ill for a while. So again, there was a period of time her husband was seriously ill. 约翰知道有一段时间他不能跟他的朋友见面. John knew that for a time, there would be a period of time he could not see his friend. 他学习圣经已经有一段时间了. He's been studying the Bible for quite some time now. Or there has already been a period of time for which he's been studying the Bible. So, in this lesson, we've talked about 其中 number measure word, which we use to highlight one or any number of things out of several. Not A, but rather B. 不是 A, 而是 B. 他不是老师，而是律师. And after a while, 过了一段时间, and for a while, 有一段时间. In the next lesson, we'll look at how to say not only A, but also B, how to say even, and we'll look at the power of thinking. See you next time.